Some chefs learn in five-star kitchens, but she learned on the street, where mistakes burn fast and flavor has to fight for attention. This is the story of Mei Lian, a poor girl who ran a tiny food stall. She didn't have money, she didn't have a fancy restaurant, but what she did have was taste. People from faraway towns would come just to eat her food. Everyone who tasted her cooking left with a smile. It wasn't glamorous, but it was unforgettable. One day, a man came to eat at her stall. He took one bite and was completely blown away by the taste. Before leaving, he handed the girl a business card and left. Later that night, Mei Lian looked up the card. She searched for the address written on it. It was a world-famous restaurant, a place where only the rich dined and only the best chefs were allowed in the kitchen. She was shocked. Why would someone like her be called there? The next day, a fancy car pulled up. She was tired of struggling, so she got in. She was taken to a massive, luxurious kitchen, clean, shiny, and filled with professional chefs. Everything looked like it came from a dream. Seeing all of this sparked something inside her, the desire to prove herself. A few minutes later, a famous chef named Paul walked in. He said two people would be tested today. One was Mei Lian. The other was John, a young man who graduated from a top culinary school. The challenge? Make a simple fried rice. John went first. He used expensive shrimp, fresh peas, and carrots, and fried everything in butter. It looked like a dish from a magazine. Mei Lian didn't have fancy ingredients. She grabbed leftover rice from the fridge, cracked 2 eggs, and fried everything on high heat, just like she did back at her stall. When both dishes were ready, Paul first tasted John's. Then, he smelled Mei Lian's dish. Without saying a word, he turned to John and told him to go home. John was upset, but Paul didn't explain. Then Paul asked Mei Lian, "Why do you want to work here?" She replied, "I want to do something different, something beyond what I've always known." Paul smiled. And just like that, she got the job. But getting the job was just the beginning. On the first day, Paul showed her how to slice beef, exactly 2 millimeters thick. Mei Lian tried. Paul took one look at the first slice and threw it away. She got scared, almost on the verge of tears. She kept trying over and over again. And finally, she got it right. Next, she moved on to stir-frying, something she was confident in. But Paul kept throwing her dishes in the trash. Every failed attempt broke her a little more. She felt like she wasn't good enough. She cried. She even thought of going back home. But deep down, she reminded herself, "I didn't come this far just to give up." That night, she stayed in the kitchen all night. She practiced non-stop. Her hands were sore, her body exhausted, but her heart on fire. The next morning, everyone noticed. She looked tired, but in her eyes was something new, determination. She grabbed the pan, fired up the stove, and started frying beef with speed, power, and precision. Her hands were burning, but she didn't stop. When Paul tasted her dish, he was stunned. The beef melted in his mouth, perfect in every way. He didn't say a word, but his face said everything. Mei Lian had finally made it. She had no degree, no money, no diploma, no fancy kitchen, but she had passion, pain, and persistence. And in the world of cooking, that's what truly sets you apart. Sometimes the strongest flames come from the humblest stoves, and the best chefs are born where no one's looking.